everybody, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing book reviews. It's going to be for this duet here, which is Hunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. This is H.D. Carlton's cat and mouse duet. First, I would like to start off by saying I'm sorry I've been absent recently. I had to take a little time to recoup after reading these. Mainly book two. Book two is a lot darker than book one, so fair warning going into that. And I would also like to thank It's My Own Little Corner here on TikTok. I will be adding her here for you, and I'm also going to be mentioning her in the description of this video as well. You inspired me to read this series. I've had it on my shelf for a while and was too scared to read it because of past experiences in my life, and listening to your videos and listening to you explain it made me feel comfortable enough to dive into them, so I really appreciate it. Now to get into these, we're going to start with Hunting Adeline. Hunting Adeline is so good, and it was better than I was expecting it to be. I had a friend that actually was concerned I wasn't going to like it just because of the themes it covers. But actually, compared to the second book, book one is tame. To say the least. Book one is super good. You get a good foundation of who Zaid is and who Adeline is. And while you get a good foundation in this, I guess it's technically a cliffhanger, because I don't know when this one came out, but because I got them both simultaneously pretty much, or rather I read them simultaneously, so I didn't have the cliffhanger of having to wait for this one to come out. but the cliffhanger of this one makes you like want to read this one, and that's like the best thing an author can do for their series. And I will say I loved all of the characters in this, like all of the characters you're supposed to love for the most part. Like, Adeline was funny, she was engaging. Zaid is shadow daddy material, and, he's very much, even though he is dark, he is morally dark. Like, I wouldn't call him morally gray. He's morally dark. And, but he's also funny. I love his bromance with, is his name Jay? I think his name's Jay. But either way, for those who have read it, his bromance with his tech buddy, with his computer guy, is just adorable. And then obviously Addie's relationship with her friend Daya, very, very wholesome in reality. I was very interested in this. So that's to wrap up that one. And then we come into the hard part of this review set. This was the healing book, shockingly, for me. The first portion of this book is traumatic for Adeline. It's traumatic for Adeline and it's traumatic for Zaid in two very different ways, right? And I think it's kind of hard to talk about this one without spoilers, so I will put a spoiler warning here. Adeline goes through a lot of traumatic things in this book, in the first portion of this book, and Zaid does unimaginable things to get her back. And the reading through, what was most healing for me for this is reading through how Adeline coped with her pain And even when she wasn't coping well, after the fact, when she's back with Zaid, when Zaid does eventually rescue her, Addie kind of rescues herself, but she makes it back to Zaid, and when she does, for a while she's just kind of broken, and that's okay. And Zaid is there with her in that brokenness, and It's My Little Corner on TikTok, who I mentioned before, she mentions that too, like how important it is that Zaid is in that brokenness with her, and he doesn't try to force her to change. He just kind of sits there with her in her darkness and makes her comfortable. He doesn't push, and that's extremely important for people that have dealt with, some of the themes that are covered in this. And on the flip side, Zaid goes through this shattering realization that he feels that he's failed her because she got taken in the first place. And so he's going through all of this guilt and things like that, that he's trying to work through with her. Now that she's back, he doesn't know how to reconcile the guilt with how she's feeling, and all he can really do is watch her go through it. And I highlighted a couple portions in here, and I was trying to find them on my live the other night, on Saturday night when I was doing things, but I found when I was reading through them that I do a lot of the same things that Adeline does in this book to kind of cope with her trauma. And it's like, you have to remember when you're in a triggering situation that, you are with the person that loves you. You are with the person that is gonna keep you safe and in these situations, and you kind of just have to breathe through it sometimes, and other times you're just gonna shatter and scream and yell and cry, and that's okay too. It's perfectly okay to break down every now and again, and when trauma resurfaces, and most of the time it's at the most inopportune moment, and you have no idea what to do with that. So I want to say as a final note that read your trigger warnings. They're extremely important, especially when reading dark romance. They're extremely important, and they're there for a reason. And with this one in particular, it is so important, because if you don't, you will be caught off guard, and you will not know what you're jumping into. And, Haunting Adeline talks about the big thing that is happening in here, but it is not to the extent of which Adeline goes into detail talking about what happens to her. So please read your trigger warnings. It is extremely important. And with that, I will sign off, and thank you again for coming back and listening to me and being on this journey with me. Bye, guys.